This video is dedicated to those who got engaged over Valentine's. Do not get married in community of property. And I know this is going to ruffle some feathers because some people believe that if you get married out of community of property, it means that you are not committed or you're planning on divorce. But let's be honest, your marriage regime has very little to do with whether you're united or not. Because if your partner doesn't like talking about money, if your partner doesn't like budgeting together, then community of property is not going to fix that. If you're reckless with money, community of property is not going to fix that. In fact, love itself cannot cure bad financial habits, let alone a marriage regime. There are plenty of people that are married in community of property but don't even know their partner's salary. And I guess this is how men can have a whole entire family or a side chick that they're supporting without their wives knowing. The truth of the matter is financial unity is more about the culture that you create in your marriage. It's more about behavior than the actual regime that you select. The reason I've always actually been skeptical about the in community of property is because my mom once told me about someone that she knows who had to cash out her pension to pay off her husband's debts. And that's the thing about in community of property. If your partner is insolvent, then you're insolvent. If your partner is bankrupt, you're bankrupt. It doesn't matter how good you are with money. If your partner is really bad with money, if your partner is financially irresponsible, then you're in a sinking ship. Not only do you suffer now because you have to cover the expenses that they can't cover. Now, if you want to buy a car or a house, you might even get rejected for that. But you also suffer later because if this person passes away, you inherit all of their debts. And if you divorce, you get half of their debts. I'm actually failing to see the benefit of in community of property. So here are two suggestions or two options that I have for you. So in South Africa, you can get married out of community of property with accrual or without accrual. And you need an ANC, which is an antenuptial contract for both. And this will cost you roughly 3,000 or 3.5. The nice thing about the out of community of property regime is that it doesn't affect your life in any way in the present. It will only affect your life at the point of divorce or the point of death. Unlike community of property, which will actually change your life immediately because it now affects the stuff that you qualify for, and for some things you will need your partner's consent to be able to get. So let's explore the differences between the two out of community of property regimes. So let's start with out of community of property without accrual. So what this means is that whatever I come with and whatever I acquire in the marriage remains mine. And what my partner comes in with and whatever they acquire during the marriage remains theirs. And if we go our separate ways, everybody keeps their own stuff. So I would actually recommend this for somebody who's getting married later in life. Maybe you are almost at retirement and you've got a new spouse, because there's very little time for you to recover if things go south. And then the second group I would recommend this to is people who are getting married who already have kids with somebody else. So in order to protect assets for your own children, you don't want them to get wrapped up in a joint estate. In community of property with accrual means that in your ANC, you're going to point out the things that you want to be excluded from the accrual. So those things that you specify within the ANC are the stuff that will ultimately belong to you and stay belonging to you.